All right. How about it, Hanrahans? Let's give it up for Kevin Riley. We're honored to have him in our presence tonight. He's former Eagles special teams captain, played at Villanova, and help me out with the name of the high school.
Salesianum.
That's how I pronounce it.
We'll call it Sally's. You're okay with that, right?
Sure. Now, you got to mention, too, that don't leave it off that I did play with the New England Patriots.
I was going to dodge around that.
I have a caveat. I wanted to tell the audience I played with them before they started cheating, right?
That was one of my trivia questions.
Oops.
Yeah, we already checked one off.
All right. Real quick, John's going to go over our fantasy football for week 3 and head into week 4. So we're just going to take a couple of quick minutes. And if you guys don't play, you need to follow us on this Fans View. We got some great prizes. Coach Vermeil Super Bowl trophy, Coach Vermeil autographed jersey. So if you don't follow us, you need to.
Exactly. Yeah, we. If anybody wants to join the contest, you can still do it. This will be the last week that you can join in and still get the complete scores. But you're more than welcome to even join in afterwards. It's always fun. This week we had Lauren lost to the viewers. Unfortunately, she had a valiant effort there in the first half of Sunday, and it ended up falling a little bit short. And Jim Wright, who's here tonight, he is the winner, high scorer for week 3. So congratulations on that. And then we also have a little bit of a personal grudge match going on here with Emily and Henry. And Henry now is walking around proud, being up 2-1 in their personal matchup. He's leading the overall season scores by 608 to 598. So it's a close matchup point-wise, but 2-1 is still 2-1, right, Henry?
Still married, right?
Oh, yeah.
For now. So yeah, if you want to join in, you can follow us on Facebook on this Fans View page and join in. And if not, you can Facebook me if you want, or you can, if you know me, you can get me a phone number and text me your your lineup, and I'll get you in our matchup. We have 65 people. We have a bunch of people added on this week, so
Nice.
it's growing. So it's good to go. See. So.
Jim, you only got 14 more weeks to go. Don't bail on us now.
Not when he's the highest scorer, he's not going to bail. So, Kevin, do you play fantasy football at all?
I did.
You did?
I did with the family, and I had a brother-in-law who had a job that he was in the computer all day.
Okay.
And he beat us like 3 years in a row because he was grabbing people before you know they were there. And so anyway, I lost my interest because it was, I couldn't beat anybody in that pool.
Well, then you can play our contest, and you can join in with us. And...
You probably got guys to do the same thing.
No, because
You're talking to one of them.
Yeah.
No, we have 65 people, so you have people will be having the same. You might have the same person as Jim.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just a matter of picking the player. So every week you get a new lineup, so it's good to go. You don't have to worry about injuries and that kind of stuff. So I'll get you your phone number and we'll get you in.
All right, good.
All right. We mentioned Coach Vermeil, and Kevin has a great relationship with Coach. Maybe you can drop a story, a Coach story with us before we get started into your personal life. Maybe it includes Coach. I don't know.
Well, it kind of does. For 12 years, Dick ran a golf tournament called the Vermeil Classic for the Boy Scouts of Chester County for 28 years. And it was fading probably after year 12 or 13, I forget which. And he had asked me at a golf tournament if I would come to it. So I said, I've never been asked. Sure, I'll be there. And I got there, and it was supposed to be a celebrity golf tournament. And I get there, and it's John Spagnola. Keith Kreftley, myself, and Vince Papale. And I said, what kind of celebrity tournament is this? There's 4 of us here. And he said, well, I'm having a hard time asking these guys, they want me to return the favor. I just can't handle everybody. I said, Coach, next year, call me up. I'll help you with the celebrities. I'll take you out of the middle. So not only did I do that, but he ended up putting me in charge of the whole thing. And we moved from Rivercrest. This is the funny story. Coach, he can love you, but he's got tough love. And every one of us have had him in our face that we've done something wrong that we are responsible for, but he still loves you. But he's got to know he's not going to let you get away with anything. So it was the 3rd year we're running it, and I had 35 celebrities scheduled to show up, and I only needed 32, but day of, 3 guys aren't going to show. All 35 showed. It's a beautiful day. We got off on time. I said, this is unbelievable. I'm going to go over and get a couple pats on the back, because Coach is on the par 3 and he's teeing off with everybody. So I go over and he goes, just the guy I want to see. And here he comes. I'm going, uh-oh. And he grabbed me right here and he says, where is, I won't say the name, brand of the car, hole-in-one car. And I said, it's not here. He said, no. And it was from one of his best friends that had donated the car for hole-in-one. And he said, go get it right now. I almost drove the golf cart out to get it, but I did pick up my car. And that was, my opportunity to have him in my face to get the car. And I drove it back, put it on the hole. Anyway, we changed courses from Rivercrest to Downingtown because Jaworski had bought Downingtown. Now, you really can't compare the 2 courses. Rivercrest had done us great. They were brand new. They were more modern. It was a nicer course. But Coach is loyal. So he says, we're going to go. It's your call, Coach. I'm the chairman, but you're Coach. So he says, well, we're going to go to Downingtown. We're going to support y'all. So we did. And the first year we were there, it went pretty well. It's always different when you always are challenged when you move to a new location. So it's at the end of the day, and I said, things went pretty well here today. And all of a sudden, I'm getting ready. I'm looking for Coach, and because we're going to thank the sponsors, and we're going to get on with the auction and all that. And John Bunny comes running up from the men's locker room, and he goes, Ross, get over here. What? I said, I don't know what's going on down there, but Dick's got Jaworski and the general manager in the corner, and he's going pointing in both of their chests. And I'm going, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And he comes up the steps. I said, Coach, what's the matter? He said, they ran out of towels. They ran out of towels at my golf tournament. How can you do that? I'm embarrassed. I said, Coach, settle down. That's the worst that happened today. That's the only thing that happened. So I get him up there, and he's hard to calm down when he gets excited. And he starts thinking, I want to thank Blue Cross, Blue Shield, I want to thank. And by the way, I apologize for the lack of towels, gentlemen. He said, I don't know. He says, Jaworski, it's his fault. And you know what? Maybe because he's Polish, they only take showers once a week. But that's not the thing. He can't say that. He says, I'm 80 years old. I can say whatever I want. So, I could tell you 100 more like that, but we don't have the time for it. But that's the kind of love that he has for you, but he also can put you in your place if you did something wrong.
That's why everybody loves him.
It does. Yeah, it really does.
Absolutely.
Guys, I will say this before we get started. Speaking of Coach, there are 3 guys, and I got asked this on a radio broadcast a couple of weeks ago. 3 guys that I know personally that have made stardom in the sports world and are superstars who never forgot where they came from.
That'd be John and I, right?
Yeah, and those are the first 2.
Well, you're 4th and 5th.
Oh,
Right? But
we're
it's
top 5.
Dick Vermeil, okay, Howie Long, and Jay Wright. They can walk in right here now, sit down with anybody in this bar, have a beer with them, and have a conversation with them because they never forgot where they came from. And it's so nice to see guys that have reached that pinnacle in sports and still are, general guys, just good guys.
And it didn't fall for him with Howie's son Chris. He's a class act himself.
Even though he's got 1,000 tattoos, he's still. Howie's was a little worried about him growing up. No more.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was a little bit, hey, everybody gets a little wild. He had 3 sons,
Mhm.
and but Howie is just a tremendous guy. Tremendous guy.
John, before we leak out a whole lot of trivia, you want to throw a couple of early trees out, because we've got a custom photo that we had prepared for tonight, and Kevin has already signed them. They're pretty special, so you guys might want to pay close attention. First arm, Lauren will identify, and hopefully we get the right answer.
All right, this one I want to get down to part of the question I want to follow up with it afterwards. But who was the team Kevin was drafted on? Ooh.
Miami Dolphins.
There you go. There you go. There you go. What pick was it? There you go. There you go. So they're all catching up. Yep, very good. So I was kind of interested because the 72 Dolphins were the team that drafted you the following year in '73. What happened in that?
Well, John, it's a great question, because I went down there. I got drafted, as Jim said, in the 7th round. I was the 131st guy taken. I was the first guy taken in the 7th round, and I get down there, and they have 22 rookies, free agents, and they had 17 draft choices in those days. And I think the Dolphins had 16 because they had traded one or something. So you're sitting there with 22 guys trying to make the team. And Shula has stated basically there's only going to be 2 or 3 slots open. Mm-hmm. Don was the kind of guy that believed you leave the dance with the girl you came with. They won a Super Bowl. Not only did they win a Super Bowl, they're the last team to go undefeated.
Right.
1972, which is incredible. And so he had 2 guys that retired, and 1 guy that was injured. And that's another thing. 1 guy on injured reserve your whole year.
Yeah.
They don't even get out of the walkthroughs now without 2 guys on injured reserve. And so I'm down there sitting around going, man, what are my chances of making this team? They already think there's 6 guys better than me that they drafted ahead of me. And that's when I made a decision after about a week of practice, when it was really torturous. 2 hours and a half practice in the morning, 2.5 in the afternoon, 95-degree heat, full pads, hitting, no water breaks. Now, the next year they changed that because a couple of college students had passed away and everything got changed. But it was sheer torture. Yeah. And the veterans wouldn't talk to you. They would do everything they could to make you look bad. And so we had guys, I would say in the first 10 days, we probably had 10 of them leave in the middle of the night. So I kept thinking, well, you know what? I'm going to hang in here because they keep leaving and I'm learning. Boy, am I learning. I would say big step going from Villanova coaching. Nothing against Villanova coaches. They were college coaches, and being with the world champions.
Right.
Bill Arnsparger, who ended up being the New York Giants head coach. This guy, he had a process. It was the hardest course I had since chemistry at Villanova, learning the 53 defense. But anyway, every day somebody else would leave. And we got down to the last cut, and they put up the starting special teams for the first game a week and a half ahead of schedule, and I was on every one. And that's when the veterans started going, hey, Kev, looks like you made the team. So I knew there was one more cut, and I wasn't counting. And Thursday before the first game, when they made the last cut, I got called into Coach Shula's office, and I thought there was an infraction because he doesn't handle guys that get, cut. The offensive defense coordinators feel that's their job. So I went in there thinking, what I do wrong, I didn't violate a few laws I'm going. And he's sitting behind the desk, and he says, you're the unluckiest guy in the world. He said, I just got a call last night from Coach Joe Paterno. And he has a guy by the name of Bruce Bannon, who's a 3rd-round draft pick of the Jets, and they wanted to convert him to a linebacker from defensive end, and he just can't backpedal. And he let me know that he's the same size that played behind Bob Matheson. We don't have a backup for Bob. you're not big enough to play the position. So on Coach Paterno's word, we just claimed him off of waivers, and we're going to have to release him. Well, my chin fell to my chest. I've been through 12 weeks, 7 exhibition games, including the college all-star game, and I had this close. He got out from behind the desk and he came over and he lifted my chin up and he looked me in the eye and he said, "Hey, you just didn't get cut by the Pottstown Firebirds.
Right.
You got cut by the world champion Miami Dolphins. You'll get picked up within 3 to 4 weeks." And that gave me hope.
Right.
And thank God I made a move to go and talk to the Eagles myself, and they signed me, and the rest is history. Couldn't have turned out any better for me.
No, and it's pretty impressive too, because but it's pretty impressive as a rookie coming into the Eagles, and you're special teams captain right away. That's shows a lot as well.
Well, it took me a year. It took me 1973 to prove myself on special teams, but then 1974 I became captain, and it came with some responsibility too. You had to do some crazy things, but there was a very special night too. We'll talk about later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Another trivia?
Yeah, we can do another tribute.
Lauren?
Orange ready? All right. So, what number did Kevin wear in the NFL other than 52?
55.
Wow.
There you go. There we go. He's
Where
been studying.
did I wear that?
I know. But people have been really studying lately.
New England. No, New England.
New England. Yep.
I thought you got the first one right.
Yeah. Very good.
All right, so do we, what do we do? Change the question. We tried this with John. Just let him go, right?
Yep.
Let him go. The Eagles are 3-0. John's doing a good job. Everything is warm and fuzzy, right?
Absolutely. The Eagles are doing very well. Very impressive.
All right, so we're going to go back. Early in your days of playing high school football, and where it all got started. You got some interesting storylines. So maybe you could share a few with us.
Well, I went to this all-boys Catholic high school in Wilmington called Salesianum with a great tradition of football. And there was a coach there in my freshman year who I wanted to play for. His name was Jim Montero. And he was a new rock in Salesianum. And he retired, and a young guy by the name of Wayne Allen, 27 years old, fresh into coaching out of Notre Dame. Wayne was 6'2", 187, and as a sophomore, he started at guard for Notre Dame. He was ferocious, but he tore up his knee and couldn't play his junior and senior year. And I happened to be blessed during that time with a senior team that was very athletic, and we went undefeated. And we're one of the few undefeated teams in Salesianum history. The other thing that goes with that is we didn't play many in-state schools. We only played 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to play us in state, so we'd have to come out. And a lot of times we were in the neighborhoods up here, Father Judge, St. James, Chester, North Catholic. Those were some of the teams we played up here. We'd have to go to Baltimore to play Baltimore Poly and St. John's. So, it was a little tough because you couldn't get any animosity up. These weren't rivalries. So you went down and you just played team football the best you could. And we had an undefeated year that year, and 11 guys from that team went to college on some sort of athletic scholarship.
Wow.
And 5 went to Division I schools. 2 of us went to Villanova, 1 went to Kentucky, and 2 went to Notre Dame. And 1 went to Westchester, some of the Division II schools. But Salesianum has never had a class like that had that many guys go and play college football. And it was a real team sport. I mean, everybody was in to keep the undefeated season going, no matter what it cost.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'll bring the book up. The book is for sale, Tackling Life. You guys can see Lauren. I understand it's a great read. I I haven't had the opportunity to read it, but
But he looked at all the pictures.
Fits right up my alley.
There you go.
But anyway, C. Lauren, they will be autographed. They can be personalized, whatever you guys want. Kevin will do, but this book is available, and I hear it's a great read. So tonight's the night to get it. So C. Lauren.
And if you're watching on Facebook, we can have them shipped out to you as well if you'd like to get a copy of it.
We got a couple of folks coming in from Florida. We wish our Floridian friends all the best down there. Hopefully it's just a lot of water that they can move around and get rid of.
Exactly.
Boy.
Yeah. They're very safe down there.
So we wish them the best. So moving right along. So you graduated and you went on to Villanova, and let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was another interesting experience. I picked Villanova over 12 other college offers, and it just seemed like I liked the whole atmosphere. I was considering Maryland, Kentucky, and Villanova won. And the coach in Kentucky, he called me and said, "How did we ever lose to Villanova? Tell me." And I couldn't explain to him. Well, it was a bigger program. He said, "We're even both called Wildcats." So I narrowed it down to those three. I never looked back. I could have gotten lost in a big program. And my first year at Villanova, I got injured playing with the freshman team, and they moved me in spring practice. They moved me to linebacker from tight end, and I was on the 5th team. They really thought they had wasted a scholarship because they were looking for great things from me, and being injured, I wasn't playing. They couldn't see how I could play, and I had lost some weight, so they weren't happy about that. Rehabbing my knee, and so when I came back, playing 5th team, 4th team, whatever it was, I was the practice team. I ran the practice team against our 1st and 2nd team offenses, and I was sure they had given up on me. And one day, walking back from practice, I had another one of those, deja vu's. I said to myself, "Well, you're either going to work yourself out of this, or you're going to have to transfer." And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to grovel and transfer to University of Delaware, who wanted me to play. Hubby Raymond said I wouldn't make it up there, but he said I wouldn't make it academically. But it didn't matter. And so anyway, I just made up my mind that night, talked to a couple of guys that I played ball with that gave me some strength. And I said, tomorrow I'm going down there and I'm going to just knock the hell out of people. And I did it, and I got in a couple of fights. And, the coaches looked around and said, "What happened to him? What did you have to drink last night?" And I said, "I'm tired of messing around. I'm tired of these guys pushing my nose in it. And we're going to continue to battle like this." So then they elevated me to 3rd team. And then I was starting to learn the position. That was another thing. I didn't play linebacker in high school. I played defensive end and tight end. And so I was starting to come along. And they said, you're going to be salvageable, but we're going to redshirt. I said, "Really? Okay, well, that sounds good." They had a senior and another sophomore playing in front of me, and it's going to be my sophomore year. So I went through training camp. I learned a lot, but I was still not getting the reps with the 1st and 2nd team. So to make a long story short, the Friday walkthrough that we had before we went to Maryland, Friday afternoon, our senior outside linebacker tore his ACL. So now they moved Billy McManus, a Father Judge player, and I played against him in high school. They moved him up to start, and they said, "You're going to have to go down. You can play 5 quarters and still save your red shirt. You're going to have to go down to Maryland. You're going to play on our special teams, and you got to be there just in case something happens to Billy. But we're still going to redshirt." So it sounds good to me. Guys, I had never played in front of 40,000 people. And I want to tell you, I was like a madman making tackles on the kickoff team and the punt team. I was having fun. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the 3rd quarter, they're yelling my name. I go, "Oh, my God, did I miss one of the special teams?" And here comes Billy. He twisted his ankle, and he's limping off. And I have to go in. Now, I don't even know the plays that well. I know a basic design. So the defensive end, Billy Mingy, he's giving me, watch, they're going to run right at you. If they see you, you've been put in. So I'm like this, 40,000 people. I can't even believe I'm in here. And all of a sudden, they run a guy at me. I take on the tight end. I am just so full of energy. I knock him down, and I make a tackle for a 2-yard loss. The next play goes away from me the other way, and I'm supposed to be guarding up. I guess there's a reverse. And I chased the guy down, which I shouldn't have done, but I got him for a 2-yard loss. So now they're running a screenplay. Billy says, look out, you got the fullback man-to-man. I saw him setting up. I blitzed through, and I took him down for a 3-yard loss. So the next thing I know, McManus is standing up, and he says, I'm going back in. And he tells me later, I'm sitting there getting taped up, and I hear Riley on the tackle, Riley on the tackle, Riley on the tackle. And he said, I didn't think I was going to have my job if I let you keep playing.
Don't know why he kept him.
Well, he went back in, but he tore his ankle up worse. So I have to start the next week against Boston College on national television. I didn't sleep for 2 days. And they put another senior in charge of giving me directions on it. I didn't play badly. I played okay. They just nipped us by 3 points, and I was coming along. But thank God for the defensive end who was a senior helping me out along the way. But now I had to learn. And the following week, we played, and they played Billy half and me a half, and then we played Navy. And in the Navy game, I had a little better hands than Billy did because I was a tight end and he was a quarterback. And so they let me in the fourth quarter when Navy was driving on their last drive to come down, and they were starting to drive. If they score, we lose. And I made an interception at midfield that sealed the game for us. And after that, I started the rest of the season. So that's another story. I never got the red shirt. Wished I did, because the first meeting I went to with all those 22 rookies, I was the only guy in there 21. Everybody else was 23 and 24. They had been redshirted. They failed second grade. I'm thinking, my God, why didn't I redshirt? But it all turned out for the better.
Oh, yeah. Very
So
good.
the local flavor, staying home, staying, close to home, did that have any factor in, on the Villanova choice? One Wildcat versus another?
I just like the atmosphere of Villanova, and everybody I met seemed to be a nice person. And I made the decision based on that. And I also knew if I went and played in the SEC, that it was a dog-eat-dog world. And, you could get caught behind 2 All-Americans from, one from Oklahoma, one from Kentucky. You may never see the light of day.
Yeah.
And I knew that Villanova wasn't that deep, and it just was the right choice for me.
Okay.
I felt it in my gut.
Excellent. Worked out well. I don't want to get too far ahead of the whole story, but you have started to do some work with Villanova as well, right? Broadcasting games and doing some of that later on after your career?
Yeah, I did 16 years of broadcasting on WIP and WYSP for the Eagles pre- and post-game shows. I don't know how I ever survived 16 years because I was way overdue to be fired. But you know what? We started this little show. It was called Countdown to Kickoff, and it was a WYSP radio show that went up against WIP, and they manufactured that, the Eagles organization, so they would give WIP some competition going into that 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock hour. And a guy named John Miller, who was my partner for 14 years, we put it together. They gave us, you guys do what you want. You figure out the clock. You figure that stuff out. We'll get you the sponsors. And John and I figured we'd do a quality job with that. The one thing that I learned from being in my 30 years working as an executive with Xerox is when I was doing the marketing piece, I couldn't stand when we would give the Eagles or any other organization a live read, but they ran through it like they were running through, a Hail Mary. And so John and I gave, attention to the live reads and stuff, and the sponsors are the people that kept us on.
Excellent.
And so after 16 years of that, I retired. The guys behind me were saying, he's not relevant. I wasn't, but who cares? And a couple years ago, 8 years ago, I got a call from the Villanova people, and they said, we need you to consider coming on as an analyst on our radio show until we find a replacement. And I said, fine, I can do that for a year. It might be fun. You know, I fell in love with the program. I fell in love with the kids. I love being in the booth again and have my heart beat fast. So this is my 9th year with them. And we'll see what happens next year because I have lovely grandkids that are begging me to come out to their games. So I don't know if I can hold on for another year, but it's been a great ride.
Awesome. 11 years. Let's give it up.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right, this is moving way too fast. We're having a great time up here. I hope you guys are enjoying it. So if you guys have any questions or comments, for Kevin, flag down the Lauren with the microphone. I'm sure he'd love to answer any of them. Real quick, again, the raffle prizes. Go see Emily, go see Henry, go see Lauren. No Lauren. Sue, sorry. You got enough on your plate. So some great raffle prizes. Everybody's going to go home a winner. So jump in. Jason, are they the best? Oh, two thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Robert only gave me 1. I got another one back there. All right, there we go. I gauge it on you guys. So real quick, questions, comments, please. We got a great guest. He loves football. He loves life. And we're going to dig into tackling life. So let's, John, are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely ready. So talking about how you went through your training camps, what do you think of the way that football is played right now with training camps?
Well, first of all, the difference in the players will be the reason that I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. When I was playing back in the early 70s, I was probably one of the 10% that lifted weights.
Okay.
And that's the only reason that I was able to make it in the NFL because I worked on my strength. I wasn't big enough really to play middle linebacker, but I backed up Bill Berge and the other 2 linebackers. I don't think if Bill had ever gone out, and he never went out, but if he'd ever gone out for a long period of time, that I would have been able to sustain taking on blockers that were 275 pounds on a consistent basis. So one of the things you look at today is these guys work out all year round. Now that's a good news. You can see the buff on them. You can see their strength. All of these guys, defensive backs now, they're muscle bound. And that's the other problem is they probably work too much. Exactly. And they don't have it all season to let their bodies relax. And they have a tendency to get more injuries. That being said, I can see why you can't have tackling practice with $1 million guys. Now, this is going to sound crazy, Carl, but when I was playing with the Eagles, when we played the Dallas Cowboys, they had a wedge, and I was a wedge buster. And in the Dallas wedge was Too Tall Jones, Jethro Pugh, Harvey Martin, and Randy White.
Jeez.
3 all-pros.
Right.
So, and my job was to knock down 2 of them.
Not one.
Yeah, just knock down 2 of them. So it's really crazy because you take a look at 90 minutes is all they're allowed to spend on the field, and the coaches have to be off the field. So you have guys in leadership roles that are helping guys you have to practice now. That's a good thing. But when I look at the schedules and they're doing 60-minute walkthrough with these little pads on, I just sent it out to a bunch of my guys that I played with the Eagles. We all went out to Coach Vermeil's, Hall of Fame thing. And I said, does this resemble anything that we went through during the week of practice? And then the resting guys, when you got a concussion, and I had a really bad concussion in an exhibition game, and I wasn't good for at least a week. But on Tuesday when we came back, the linebacker coach came up to me and he said, "Got the cobwebs out?" And I said, "I guess." He says, "Good. Put that helmet on. We're going to be doing some hitting today." And that was the protocol.
You feel good? You're in there.
You say, "How many fingers do I have?" And they put up 3 fingers. I'd say 4. Close enough. Get back in there.
Oh yeah.
But it's a different world. These guys are more valuable than we were.
Right. Oh yeah.
From the standpoint of the dollars being spent. And,
Yeah.
I just wonder if going to 17 games, and believe me, before we die, there'll be 18.
Although there
regular
would be
season
18,
games.
yeah.
They're going to eliminate these preseason games. They're going to start selling tickets to scrimmages, okay? And you're going to see 7-on-7 drills. That's what it's going to come down to, and they're going to add that 18th game. So it's a big difference in the type of player that's playing today. They're more athletic. They are stronger. They're faster. We never had anybody running 4.4
Right.
back in the day,
Yeah, and then those are our defensive linemen doing 4.4. Right. And it's
Well, this guy Michael Parsons for Dallas.
Yeah,
He said he runs a 4.25 40.
yeah.
He's that size. Who can't he get around as you're blocking him one-on-one? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When he comes to play, nobody can stop him.
No.
Yep.
Nobody. So, John, I don't want the show to end, and we don't ask the question. So, we're talking current Eagles, and I know John has such passion and loves the current quarterback status. So it's open mic. So, I want you to be kind. I want you to be courteous. Just show the guests a little courtesy here. Because Hollis could be watching.
Hollis could be. He could be.
All right.
But yeah, as things change, my opinions change, right? I mean that's how you grow in life. Jalen Hurts the past 2 weeks has been amazing. He's probably playing MVP type level in the game right now. I mean he's doing everything we asked him to do. We've known he was a great leader. He did, he made plays. Now he's making the plays with his arm on top of with his leg, and that's what you want to see, and that's taking the next step, and that's why, earlier in the year, I had said if he took that next step the way how he built this team, they could be a 15-2 team, and he's proven that we might be. And the number one seed maybe in the NFC. It's what we want to see out of players. We were talking earlier. I mean, he's a great leader. The way he was talking with the players in the locker room after the game, you can see that the players are all in with him. He's all in with the players, and he's a coach's son. And he's not all about everything else
But
that goes on in the NFL.
I had never gone to a tailgate for a major college game, and I had the opportunity to go when he was a freshman down at Alabama. My stepson and my nephew were both at Alabama. We went down unbelievable tailgate parties. So it's amazing because it's so calm. It's not like us Eagle fans up here. But I went into the
What's
game.
that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Calm.
it's a family affair. Even the people with LSU, I said, wait till they come in trying to get these spots in between. Oh my God. It was a little good-natured ribbing, but nothing like we see sometimes here. Anyway, I get into the stadium now, and I just want to analyze this. I know this kid has really been touted. I want to see him play tonight. It was about their fourth or fifth game. And I think he had 3 touchdowns passing and two running, and they took him out in the middle of the third quarter. And I watched him come off the field, and I watched him go over to the bench, and I watched him shake hands and pat heads of all the offensive linemen. And then he went over and stood with the wide receiver and the tight end. He made sure he contacted every one of them. Then I see him put the headphones on. Most of these guys would have gone to the bench and sat down. I'm done for the night. We're way ahead. And he's talking to the third and fourth string quarterbacks who might have a chance to get in and tell them what to do. And I'm going, this guy's different. And that's when I started to delve into his background. Yeah, he comes from 2 parents. His dad was a coach. Any coach, a successful coach, they've got to be hard on people
Right.
at certain times. And they got to know when to let up also. So that always surprised me. And then I followed him the rest of the time. And I was a big advocate. I was really upset when he played 1 bad half. And he was benched from the championship game. And he was benched the following year. And the way he took that like a man was incredible.
Mhm.
And I thought, this is another ribbon I want to pin on this guy, the way he handled that. And he rooted for Tua. And then he said, hey, I got to go to Oklahoma because I got to prove I can still play to the pros.
Right.
So, that was the background I got. And I will say this, if you watch everything, like John says, though, is relative to where we are in the season, as things progress. And when you take a look at that at Monday night's game, and you see Brett Favre and Tom Brady struggle because they didn't have the talent.
Right.
The talent was hurt or not there.
Mm-hmm.
And when Brett Favre has to throw 10 of his 14 completions under 7 yards, you know that he can't go downfield. So as good as these guys' brains were, you could be that good, but you don't have the talent. The other thing that's made Jalen better is the talent.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely did.
And John, you and I talked. He threw some balls that were a little bit short. I mean, the ball that Smith went up for to catch, that was acrobatic.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And, you got A.J. Brown who's catching the ball a little behind, so he's not at the accuracy point. And I think Jalen will tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
But he trusts these guys. If I get it close, they're going to catch it.
Right. And that's where he took the lead. Because like last year, he wouldn't make those throws.
Right.
Even with Devontae Smith. Yes, you didn't have A.J. Brown, but with Devontae
And the other
Smith.
thing is, he seems to me to be reading the field better.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They only start these young quarterbacks out if you can read a third of the field, then a half of the field. He looks like he's reading half or maybe a little better, at least for his check down people. So we'll see what happens. Big game this week.
Oh, yeah. Very big game. Yep.
Lauren, I know you're itching to get to a new segment that we fit into the show. I hope Kevin's ready for it. It's called the Mattis Minute, and I'll throw it over to Lauren.
All right, so the Mattis Minute, for those that aren't familiar, is basically just a round of questions that we ask you to answer in just like a word or two.
Okay.
If you have a story off of that, you're really welcome to tell it, but that's the gist of it. I have a new piece that I have to read. The Mattis Minute is brought to you by All-Star Inc. For all of your sports collectible needs, go to eBay and search for All-Star Inc. Any unauthorized use of the Mattis Minute without the express written consent of All-Star Inc. and this studio is strictly prohibited.
All right, where is this knucklehead?
Exactly.
Unless it's Sean, and then it's okay.
Wow.
All right, this will be the last
Mattis
Mattis Minute that we do on this show.
Did the check clear?
No, I got no
I
check.
didn't think so.
All right, first question. During your days at Villanova, did you spend more time at Kelly's, the Lifties, or Canvas Corn Pizza?
Campus Quarter Pizza.
Do you ever get people saying your name as O'Reilly, and do you just hate that?
I don't hate it. I tell them the O fell off the boat.
Which movie do you prefer, Rocky or Invincible?
Invincible.
Good answer.
Who is faster, you, Bill Bradley, or Harold Carmichael?
Bill Bradley.
If you have to pick one, Springsteen, the Beatles, Zeppelin, or something country?
I'll go with the Beatles.
Being from Delaware, does paying sales tax everywhere else really bother you?
Bothers my wife, not me. I couldn't care less.
What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Anything that's like a jelly bean or a jelly.
There you go.
Is it true your cell phone ringtone is V for Villanova, V for victory?
No, it's EAGLES, Eagle.
During your 30 years working with Xerox, did you ever make a copy of your face or your butt?
Both were too ugly to copy.
And what's your favorite live podcast show of all time?
The Carl Henderson podcast.
This fan's good.
Give it up.
There you go.
The check still hasn't cleared.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening there. But I want to dig into the second part of tackling life, and you can start it, finish it. It's a great story, and I'm sure we all want to hear it.
Well, I'll put it in a nutshell for you. I had played 3 years in the NFL, and I played enough to get vested, but I was really beat up from playing special teams. You can imagine hitting a Dallas wedge 5 times a game will do that to you. And I decided I was going to take a year off and get healthy, put on some weight so I could really be a 3-down linebacker in all 3 positions. And I had some teams that were interested in me coming back. And while I was doing my weightlifting and I'm putting on weight, everything's going really well. And I have this little bump show up on my shoulder. To make a long story short, I go to get it checked. Everybody says, don't worry about it. It's just a fatty tumor, and we'll take it out. Well, I had 3 operations. They took it out, and every time they took it out, it came back faster and bigger.
Wow.
I saw 9 doctors. Nobody had a distinct, opinion of what it was until it came back the 3rd time, and a doctor from Temple sent me to Sloan Kettering Hospital. While I went up there, here I am. I'm just waiting. I just want to get this thing out of here so I can play and, go try out for a team. And I go to see this doctor. He's going to take it out. He's really good, blah, 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 blah. I wait 2 hours in his office waiting to see him. He was world renowned. And when I get in there, he comes up to me, shakes hands. Dr. Ralph Marco, 5'7", about 130 pounds, soaking wet. He looks at me, he says, take off your shirt. I take off my shirt. He sees the bump, puts his thumb there, and he presses in, takes me down to my knees, and he says, And he holds up the x-rays. There were no MRIs at the time. Then he holds up the CAT scan, and he said, this is a misdiagnosis, what they've given you. This is not nodular fasciitis or a fatty tumor. You have a desmoid tumor, and I'll be lucky if I can save your arm. Hello.
Yeah.
My knees buckled. What did you just say? I'll be lucky if I can save your arm. You've got a desmoid tumor that is socked into your whole shoulder. And he was right. He did save my arm, but he took off my arm, my shoulder, and 4 ribs. And I'm lucky to be alive because he could not have found the microscopic cells that were there. They were not, there was no technology there to develop them. But he got great margins, and I was under the knife for 11 and a half hours. And as he came into my room after 3 days in ICU, and I was a little bit lucid, I said to him, Doc, how did everything come out? He said, I think I got it all. I said, you think you got it all? I said, where do you go next? And he said, calm down. When I say I think I got it all, I think I got it all. And he could see I was really upset. Here I was thinking about the outcome. This is like the worst news I've had, But he tried to calm me down. He said, let me tell you something. You got to be grateful that you're out of that operating room. We didn't lose you while you were in there. That's another thing. I had to sign a piece of paper, a release form, about 2 minutes before I went into the room. He had brought it down. He had forgotten to give it to me the night before. And I only remember one sentence, and I read the whole thing, and it said, as the adult in this operation, you fully understand and comprehend that there's 30% chance you will not survive the event. Well, as Johnny Carson would say, I did not know that. And that changes your whole outlook. And I was happy to be alive. And then he started to get me back on the right track. And as a matter of fact, he could see I was perking up a little bit. He says, we're going to work this thing through, but it's going to be, you're going to have to go about 10 years before I can bless you and say you're in remission. 10 years. I can't put my life on hold that long. And he said, by the way, something else. You should know this because the nurses just made me aware of this. He said, do you know that 11 guys that you played ball with caravanned up? They were from Salesianum, Villanova, and the Eagles. 11 of them came up to give blood for you. Wow. And he said, here's their 11 names. You need to thank these guys. I've never had this happen to anybody that was getting operated on. And with that, he said, and you totally bled out on the table in 11 hours. So those 11 pints refilled you. When I saw the names, there were about 4 I wasn't sure I wanted the blood from, but I said to him, okay, I said, 11 came from these guys. Where'd the other 11 units come from? He said, unfortunately, probably from the streets of New York. Oh, I said, oh my God. But they were all good. I didn't get any diseases, and the rest is history. He was good to his word after 10 years. I have been in remission. We are now saving all limbs because I'm on the board of the Desmoid Tumor Foundation, and we just had our annual meeting last weekend. This disease hits about 2 in a million people. And I didn't know anybody with this tumor for 10 years until I read about a guy named Dave Dravecki. Anybody know who Dave Dravecki was? He broke his arm on the mound from a desmoid tumor. And he and I got together, was the first guy that I knew. How about two athletes? How weird is that?
Yeah.
And from that now with social media, we have got our web page. Anybody that gets this disease or gets diagnosed with it now, and it's easy to get diagnosed because they just send the slide out and it's fully represented now in the cancers of the world. And a doctor who's never seen it before can now say, oh, you have a desmoid tumor. And I don't know what that is, but we'll get them to the right physician. And it's really been beneficial. We started out having our seminars with 2 doctors 10 years ago. We had 140 participate this year on sarcomas department, sharing information that will not only help our tumor, but will help other sarcomas. So I'm in this thing, and I hope before they give me my dirt nap that we find a cure for this disease. But nobody has to get an amputation today because of the drugs we found that keep this thing at bay. Now we just need a silver bullet that will kill it.
Very good. Very good.
We're selling books. It's all right here. See Lauren, we got copies. He'll sign them, personalize them. You guys can take this story home with you and share it with your families and friends. I'm hearing a lot of this for the first time. I've known Kevin, as a player, as a person, a little bit, but the story is phenomenal. As you can see, he's out in the community. He's sharing the story and spreading the word, and that's what it's all about. So let's give him another hand. What do you say? On a lighter note, trivia?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Much lighter.
Much later. All right.
You
Let's
guys
see.
got your arms ready?
Here we go. What was the number that Kevin wore at Villanova?
Ooh.
Is this one easy to learn?
Apparently not.
Where's my Villanova crew?
Come on now. We're in Villanova country here.
He's guessing.
This is, 66.
That is correct.
No.
Yes, it is. You were wearing it in the uniform.
Oh, that uniform, yeah. That was my freshman. You won. That was my freshman.
That was your freshman year?
Yeah.
You wore 2 numbers.
Yeah. My senior year was had one more digit, one less. One of the digits you hit was right.
There you go. There you go.
Very good.
Very
So
good.
it was 6 and 66. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No?
65 or 56?
46.
46.
There you go.
46.
What was the reason for the change?
One of it. Well, they wouldn't let linebackers wear 60 numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, in college at that time. That was my freshman. They let you do it freshman year, and then when you got in, they wanted the big uniform.
Gotcha. There you go. Okay.
Questions, comments? Come on, you guys got to have something buried somewhere. Come
Don't be
on.
shy.
I got a funny story I can tell about the
Let's
Dallas
do it.
Wedge.
Let's do it.
So we're playing Dallas down at Dallas. It's been a back and forth game. It's 1973. Actually, 1974, I'm sorry. And as I mentioned, in the Dallas Wedge was Too Tall Jones, Jethro Pugh, Harvey Martin, and Randy White. And the smallest guy was Randy White at 6'4", 275. My job, along with a guy named Bobby Picard, we were the wedge busters. And we were supposed to break the wedge, and that meant you had to lay yourself out to take 2 guys down. And behind them was a guy running by the name of Robert Newhouse. And he was like tackling a manhole cover if he was one-on-one with you, let alone having this group in front of him. So it was our 5th time down, and Tom Dempsey was our kicker. And Bobby Picard and I went up and begged him to try to kick one out of the end zone so we didn't have to go through this crash. Well, he tried, but unfortunately, when trying harder, he kicked it, and it was a line drive. And this time, the 4 guys, they had a head start of 10 yards on us. Now, our special teams coach, who I'm trying to think of his name now. Anyway, our special teams coach said, all the special teamers, we cannot call, you cannot lay on the field. You will cause us a timeout. It's Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau. You cannot cause us a timeout because timeouts are only for the 2-minute drill on the offense. So crawl off the field if you have to. I know you're going to get hurt. I know you're going to get dinged up. I know, you're going to get a little loopy from time to time. Just get off the field. So we get down this time, and I throw myself into the wedge, and I get stung. I get up. I'm numb on the right side. I don't feel anything. On the left side, I can't see out of this eye, and I have tunnel vision out of my left eye. But I see the sideline, and I start jogging over, and as I'm jogging over, the numbness is going away, but I can't shake the tunnel vision. I hear Bergie's voice, but I can't see him, and he's yelling, Riles, Riles, and he grabs my face mask, which is over here, and he turns it around. I was looking through my ear hole. And I'm praying that nobody has caught this on camera. We get on the plane, and Bill tells the entire plane on the way home exactly what happened. And he said, I thought Kevin had broke his neck, and he was the first guy that ever ran with a broken neck. So, looking through my ear hole, trying to get off the field.
Yep. Yeah, being a guy crashing the wedges, not a fun job.
No. Well, that's why I predict that in 5 more years, there'll be no more kickoffs.
Yeah.
They'll just place the ball. 90% of them are get kicked out of the end zone.
Out of the end zone. Yeah, it's game changing, and then for good, for safety of the players. But what do you think of the new change that they're talking about now, having no Pro Bowl?
Oh, that was a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah, I mean it's been a joke for a while now, but
and it's not necessary.
Right.
It really isn't necessary.
Now, is it going to be more of a joke having a flag football game in its place, or I mean that's what they were basically playing anyway? But
hard to tell.
Yeah.
I would rather see these guys in a little bit of competition, non-football.
Right.
Who is the fastest?
Yeah.
Who can catch the longest ball? Stuff like that. But again, they put themselves in an aspect that if they did something at 100%, they might get hurt. And
Right.
the owners don't want to hear that. Neither do the coaches.
Exactly. Well, our Jason Kelsey threw out a couple of suggestions for competitions that you were asking for.
Yeah.
He wants a hot dog eating contest between the offensive linemen and the defense.
There you go. Have some fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if not, you throw in a beer chugging contest as well. So him and Travis, his brother, have a good time.
How'd you like to go in that household? Huh? First of all, you better get to the dinner table on time,
Quick.
right?
Exactly. That's for sure.
All right, last call on the raffles, although we do not draw them until 8 o'clock, so you'll have a little bit of time, but I just wanted to get it out there so that everybody has a fair shake. Jim Wright, how are the raffle prizes? Very good, 2 thumbs up, very good, thank you, very good. Last minute questions, comments?
Nobody has any questions?
They're a little shy here.
Most of them are eating and drinking, so.
Exactly.
Seeing a lot of food, I can't wait to dig in, which brings me to taking care of your servers, please. They're doing a phenomenal job, so again, I want to thank Jimmy Clark for having us back,
Yes,
each and every month. The announcement for next month is going to be a Tuesday night. I know, it's not Wednesday. It's a Tuesday, right? October 25th. Hockey legend Bernie Perron will be in the house.
Oh, there you go. There we go.
Tuesday, it's gotta be a special night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any closing comments? You've got a great story, and I really appreciate you coming out and sharing it with everybody. And we got to do this again sometime.
Oh, you let me know, and I got more stories.
Oh, I'm sure.
Bernie just got married. Nobody has to hide their women anymore when he shows up.
That's our boy Bernie.
Yeah.
That's our boy Bernard.
Yeah.
So October 25th, the staff is taking reservations now for tables.
Absolutely.
So,
They got them
the
reserved.
place will definitely pack early, so, come out. Jimmy Clark, are we all good? All good? No Villanova Wildcat questions, even though you were a hockey guy?
Well, if you come out Saturday here at Hanrahan's, nope.
It was canceled due to the weather.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yeah, so.
Didn't get the
I was
memo.
I didn't get that memo to you, sorry, that's my bad. But again, let's give a big hand for our guests.
Yes, thank you.
Enjoy it.